Welcome back to the channel. Just had, some things on my mind talking about, I've seen all the videos, not all of them, because there's just way too many to count and way too many to go through, and not enough time in the day and the weeks and the months to actually go through everybody's 9 to 5 job dilemma. Everybody's got a problem working a 9 to 5. I can't work 9 to 5. I quit my 9 to 5 job. And I didn't have any backups. Ooh, what's my story now? You know what? What I want to tell people is those videos are very interesting to, view and listen to. There's a lot of things that a lot of people can pick up to or pick up on, and they can also probably resonate with many of those stories. But some of those I would not trust. If you listen to a video of somebody talking about, I quit my 9 to 5 job with no backup, but they got like this, $2,000 camera, this ultimate setup, all this beautiful stuff in the background because they live in a $2,500 a month rent apartment, I wouldn't trust that person's opinion. I think that person was already pretty well off. Maybe you should trust a person who's got the busted ride or just the average vehicle. Maybe they got holes in their shirt. Maybe they look like they stink a little bit. I would trust those individual stories. Maybe a young kid who doesn't really have much going on. They just got out of school and they're trying to work a job and they don't have much parental support and all sorts of different things, and they're just trying to share their story. Those are the stories that I would recommend listening to. The people out here talking about, I quit my 9 to 5 job, I just couldn't work it, but for whatever reason, they seem to have a whole bunch of expensive stuff in their background, really nice place to live, nice, beautiful cars. Capping. They're lying. All they're trying to do is get in on the grift. They see that as something that can catch on here on the internet, and it's something that they're going to look at and say, hey, you know what? Maybe I can get some views. My channel's already big enough. I quit my 9 to 5 job, but I got 300,000 subscribers. Don't trust that person. That person is not worth listening to because they can't really relate to your average day story. They're not living paycheck to paycheck. And if they are, it's because they're living outside of their means. Like a lot of people are living outside of their means, but most people are really just trying to make it. I made a point in, one of my videos a while back just saying, listen, I get times are hard and that maybe we should pick up a second or third job because we have to pick up ourselves by our bootstraps and just move forward. Because we're supposed to pick ourselves up by our bootstraps and just move forward. But that is difficult for the average person. Most people, you would want to work those 2 to 3 jobs if you're literally trying to be one of the biggest, baddest MRFers that exist out there. You want to be a top 1%er. You want to be one of those people who's making millions of dollars, driving luxury cars and all that beautiful stuff out there. That's when you would work those 2 to 3 jobs. Not just to survive and live alone. Not just to have a middle of the pack lifestyle, just to be middle class, just to continue to struggle, just to barely be able to afford milk and groceries, just to be able to barely get you a full tank of gas. Like at some point in time, most people would enjoy the luxury of just being able to go to the gas station and get them a full tank of gas when they get there. Not always having to put 10 here, 15 there, just so they can make it up and down the road. I remember when I used to have to do that. You know when I had to do that? During the last recession, back in like 2008. Back when George Bush just got out of office and Obama was out there trying to clean that shit up. When he was left with that and we were all out here paying for, $20 a gallon gas and stuff like that. Yeah, I remember that. In a small town of Cookeville, Tennessee, gas was like $4.20, $4.20. Go smoke it up. But still, I'm just saying that was rough back then, and we didn't make no money then. I mean, you really didn't make money. Like if you were a high-end grill cook at a place like Cracker Barrel or some type of restaurant, average job, or you worked in a factory somewhere, you probably made maybe $14, $15 an hour, and that was considered balling back then. Not the same now. But this whole I quit my 9 to 5 job because I just couldn't hack it, or I just couldn't stand it. I just realized I went on a completely different tangent. The whole point of this is that, guys, you're going to have to work. Stop listening to these people talking about they quit their 9 to 5 job. If they quit, they're struggling. Now, I get it. Working a 9 to 5 job does something to your sanity. It does something to a person who has to work that 9 to 5 job, and you get to that point in time where it's like, man, I really do not want to go into work. It sucks the absolute life out of me. Most of the people who talk about this work jobs that will suck the soul right out of you. It just will. Call centers, some factories, some of these places that you just can't stand. You got to find something that fits you. You got to. But the bottom line is not everybody can be a streamer. Everybody's talking about, well, you can make all this money on the internet. There's online marketplaces. Dude, everything's oversaturated on the internet. You ain't just going to go out there and just ball like that. It's going to probably take you years before you finally hit that point in time where you're like, you know what? Yeah, man, I'm finally really making some money on this. I've been on YouTube for almost a year and a half now, getting close on to 2 years in a few months. I mean, I ain't making no money on here. Continuing to grow. We're growing at a fast rate. Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. But the truth of the matter is, this money that I'm getting here, it ain't paying for nothing. I haven't even got it yet because for whatever reason, my tax information's all effed up and I still got to get that figured out. But nonetheless, there ain't no money coming in like that. I really got to grind. And if you're working your 9-to-5 job, you don't have that kind of time. And even if you were to put full time into this stuff, there's no guarantee you would get hits. Because just because you do it doesn't mean you're any good. Doesn't mean anybody's actually going to want to listen to you. People will sit there and post videos. I watch the struggle videos. You'll see those YouTube videos that pop up on your, on your feed that have like 7 views in 12 hours. I will click on those from time to time just to get them a view and maybe a like, just to see if they will give them some hope. Because I can't imagine that struggle. Most people are just out here trying to make it. But they don't try in the thumbnails. They don't really try in the content. They don't do any research. They don't have any real life experiences. And yet they still expect people to listen to them. And I wonder why. It's delusion. Not everybody can be an influencer. I get it. That is the lifestyle. But heck, have any of y'all really thought about it? Not any, just any like you, but some people, if you go into the content creation, have you really thought about really what an influencer is? It's somebody who is hyper criticized. Everybody is going to, microanalyze everything that you possibly do. They're constantly looking for dirt on you. They're going to go back into your past videos, your past life, any past crimes that you might have committed, anything that you've done. That you might have put out some sus material in the past, or you might have actually put out some crap music, or you've done some cringe skits. People will try to rub that into your face. Can you really handle that adversity? Can you handle that criticism? Can you handle haters in the comments? Can you really put up with the fact that some people might not like your face or the things that you do or what you say? People will make fun of your appearance, the way you dress, what's going on in your background. Can you really handle that? Do you actually have that mental fortitude? Do you have the actual gall to handle that smoke? Do you have it? Do you have the fire extinguisher that's actually going to put out the fires that is going to exist around you? Because there's going to be plenty. There's going to be a ton that exists around you, no matter how small or big you get on these platforms. I don't even know if they're bots. Even the bots are haters. You know what I'm saying? Like, even the few people that come in and comment on your videos that aren't even real, they'll even find a way to hate on you. So can you even deal with that? Do you even have, the mental awareness to know that those people aren't even real? But then again, most people fixate on the negativity. Are you secure within yourself to actually be able to deal with that? Because it's going to take that for you to live with it. Do you really have what it takes to be an influencer? Do you really have what it takes to really grow and be worth something on these platforms? So before you go out there and you just start spitting off a bunch of content, do you actually know what it takes? Are you actually interested in that grind, in that hustle? Because it's going to take time. It's going to take time. Are you really willing to put in that effort and that work? Because if you're not, you need to quit on that right now. Take your ass back to that 9-to-5 or 9-to-7 and be prepared to suffer through it. Because you're going to have to. At some point in time, you're going to need money. Either that or you can go live off in the woods. You can go shit, next to some trees. Wipe your bunghole with some tree bark. Get some mega rashes, and then you're going to have to go to the hospital that you can't afford. Then what? You're going to die of like ass rash out in the middle of the woods? Because it got infected. Next thing you know, you got bumps and pus coming out your bunghole, and you can't really do anything about it. You had no medical treatment because you ain't got no cash because you quit your job. Is that really the reality you want to live in? Is that something you really want to deal with? Living in tents, living underneath the bridge, just trying to, avoid harsh weather, rain, trying not to get wet. Because you don't have nowhere to shower. Because when you're homeless, people be forgetting about them extra issues. Living in your car is not the way to go. You know why? Because then it becomes harder to get jobs when you really decide you need to get one. You know why? Because you smell like shit now, because you have nowhere to clean yourself properly. You ain't got nowhere to go. So, think about these things. There's a lot of layers to these things. Do you really want to be an influencer? Getting on the internet and just going out there and saying, well, I'm just going ahead and start making YouTube videos. Are you interesting? Are you? Do people like listening to you talk? Do you have friends that like actually gather around and come to your place to hang out and be like, man, I really want to listen to their stories. I really want, I like their presence. You know what I'm saying? I like really being around those folks. Listening to what they got to say. They always have something cool to say. I like being around them. If that is not the case for you, I guarantee you, this ain't going to work. Now, if you're really smart, you can come up with something that's really compelling and something that's interesting for people to listen to. And I recommend doing that. But if I keep going on, I'm going to ramble on for days. And I got a lot. I can go back on this topic. Once again, hit that button, hit the bell, because we're trying to grow around here. Lo siento. I'm sorry for any inconveniences that you may have in your life right now. Hopefully this will give you some inspiration as far as what to do. Don't quit that 9 to 5. That's stupid. Keep working. You need that 9 to 5 job because you need money. We all need it. So, I'm just saying, like, if you don't work, you're just going to get further behind. Don't do that. It's only going to add to that mental, anguish that you got going on. That unsettledness that you have when you're sitting around and you're just anxious. You can't sleep. You're thinking. You can't rationalize all your thoughts. You can't put them all together because you're just struggling to get it all together. You're having a hard time because you're stressed out of your mind. Thinking about how you're going to get that next dollar just so you can eat, so you can pay your next bill, so they don't cut off your light, so they don't kick you out of your house, so you don't have, the stress of going back home and they got an eviction notice on your door saying, hey, homie, you only got so much more time before we start throwing your shit out on the grass. That ain't something anybody wants to go through. Having somebody toss out all your belongings in the yard like Friday isn't the life. I'm telling you, that ain't the way. That ain't it. So, I don't know. I hear a lot of people talking about, oh man, get on the internet. You can do this thing, man. You can get on the internet and make some money, bro. No, they ain't making shit. The people that's out here telling you that stuff is capping through their teeth. Lying. They got so much leather in their teeth from all the lies. Cloth. Picking it out like dental floss. Because they're just trying to lie to you so they can get more views. Tell people who are telling you true and honest stories. Don't listen to these folks who are out here clearly lying. See through it. See through the facade. Because I know out there, many people are struggling. They are. Everybody can't be a streamer. Everybody can't be an influencer. You know why? Because just like anything else, the market is saturated. It's saturated. That's why, the competition on these platforms is huge. It's huge. Because if you have an idea, somebody else has already had that idea. And sometimes, guess what? People are better than you at that idea and executing it. Just because you get on here don't mean you're going to kill it. Yeah, some people strike gold. Maybe you can go on TikTok, show your butt cheeks, and all of a sudden you got 1 billion views, right? Maybe you'll be the next hot tour girl. And then you can just ride it out into the sunset. But how many people really have that luxury? How many of you have that luxury? How many of y'all watching this video are actually going to have that luxury? I guarantee you it ain't going to be many. You going to go out there in the middle of traffic, get ran over by a car for views? Well, what's going to happen next after you done shattered your elbow, your knees, and your ankles, and you can't walk anymore? I guess you done grifted it out, had a bunch of interviews, and once that money's up, then what? You're going to only have about as much money as those people in those chase scams. What? $50,000, $60,000, maybe a couple hundred. It will run out. That don't last forever. You got to keep grinding. You got to keep making more money. You got to keep stacking that paper, homie. You got to keep stacking it up, because if you don't, life hard. Next thing you know, you're going to be finding yourself selling your dog for food like they're talking about. Hopefully not. Hopefully you don't get that desperate where, somebody's over here like, hey, man, I'm real hungry. Can I get that dog? Hopefully don't get to that point. But, we'll see. Either way, Have a nice day. I'll probably make another video on this because I just, there's more thoughts and it'll probably be more centralized. But either way, peace.